I cannot live like this. Like, I will not be happy holding grudges every time I'm hurt. And I was like, I will not anymore.
That's so cool.
And since then, I've been so much faster to forgive, to let go, to not linger on things.
Spirit-led. Cheers! Okay. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Maggie.
And this is the Long Game Podcast where we talk all things faith, fitness, and relationships. So welcome to the show.
Yay.
Pew, 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 pew. Why do I always... I think I almost always do that.
Yeah, that is kind of...
They're going to have to actually add that in.
Just a little,
it goes
whatever
super hard.
Sound that is. We were just talking about our drinks that we cracked open.
Yeah, Maggie got us some cold ones.
Blooms. Yeah, I'm impressed by the flavor.
Yeah, I've been impressed.
I also have not eaten a lot today, so I feel like it's gonna...
I not either. I had an Oikos yogurt and then a Chomp. And I was thinking about that. I was like, dude, there is something about the aftertaste of a Chomp in your mouth.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
The after breath.
It's gross. I do not
disgusting.
enjoy it.
It's
I
also
always
like,
have to have a little sweet treat afterwards.
it's also pasty. There's some sort of...
Well, that's disgusting.
Okay. Well, you're sick. No, it really is gross. It really is gross.
Gosh.
Yeah. So,
it is. I've tried, like, it's not just that brand. Like, any beef stick, I feel like has
it wasn't even a Chomp. It was the hickory, the OG hickory, whatever
Yeah.
that one is. So, yeah. But anyways.
Don't enjoy
But
it.
I was going to have gum. But I knew when I got here, I was going to chug water.
Same.
And I was like, if I eat the gum... Was that really your thought?
Well,
I was like,
I was going to have this.
And I thought, and I was like, and it's going to be disgusting. And I can't do that.
I had a banana on the way over here. And then this morning.
A
banana. This morning was Matthew's birthday. So, well, it is Matthew's birthday today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Matthew. Happy birthday. No, okay. No. Okay, I literally was like, anyway. Is it today? Yeah, it's today. Is he at work? Is he?
Yeah, he's at work. But last night he got off work and he had a tradition growing up where they go out and they buy their favorite cereal as a kid, so they get to pick out their favorite cereal.
Cute.
So we've continued that tradition. So last night we went out and he picked out like a fun cereal.
What is Matthew's fun cereal?
So oftentimes it's been Cocoa Pebbles.
Okay.
He feels like Cocoa Pebbles have been letting him down lately.
I've been disappointed.
Yeah, he's been disappointed. So he was like, I'm not doing it this time. And I was like, all right. And so he picked out the Reese's Puffs.
Okay. Why did I guess that?
Yeah.
I literally thought that.
Yeah, always a good one.
Okay.
So all that to say, this morning I had a bowl of Reese's Puffs with him before he went to work.
Nice.
And then
that's
I had
not very.
and that's it. So I'm like, I will be feeling
I know
very caffeinated after this.
Well, happy birthday to Matthew. And then
know.
Tomorrow is Mitchell's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are doing a joint B-Day party. It was supposed to be a pool party. We're in Tennessee and it's been raining non-stop. So I don't know what we're going to do.
We're probably just going to have to move inside.
Yeah. Play games, vibe hard.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
It'll be fine.
It'll be totally
I'll bring all of our board games.
Honestly, it might be the best energy because there's going to be a good amount of people in a small space.
Yeah.
And
everyone hanging out.
And then it just cuts to it's like awkward silence. Like everyone's just so
everyone has a little plate of food. Just like
it's like someone walks in and is like, did someone die?
No. We should play Cahoots too. That's always.
What game is that?
Isn't that the TV game where everyone puts in their answers?
Oh, good. No, Quiplash. What is Cahoots?
No, wait, Cahoots is the one that we did in college. That's for like all the
in
answers.
College. Wait, what?
wait. Have you never played Cahoots?
What is Cahoots?
I don't know if it's an actual like. I don't know if people.
Is this a missionary thing?
No.
And that's okay. Not that it's a bad thing.
Back in my missionary days.
In your missionary days.
No. Cahoots is like it's kind of like Quiplash. It's just like you like
it's online. It's an online game
on your phone.
Oh,
and then
it's
you,
like a
put in
clean version.
answers. Yeah.
Wait, I don't even think Quiplash is unclean. It's just that people just get out of control
way.
sometimes.
Yeah. It's true.
Mitchell.
People, us, get out of control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess. So, no, we do play Quiplash, but Cahoots is similar, I think. Anyways.
Okay. Yeah. We're going to play all the games, do all the vibes.
Yeah.
Pin the tail on the Matthew and the Mitchell.
Yeah.
We could do a little competition, too.
I agree.
We should do like minute to win it games. That always gets so fun. Way too competitive.
Yeah. You're great at organizing those, too.
I could totally do that.
Scooping what's it called? Little cotton balls.
Cotton balls, blindfolded. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So fun. Yeah. I could totally, yeah. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we'll chat about that more.
It's going to be amazing. And Sawyer's driving up. He called me this morning.
Driving?
Not from California, from North Carolina.
It's like he's driving from California.
Shout out to Sawyer. He's my little brother.
That's awesome.
One of my little brothers.
So he's coming from North Carolina. Okay. So that's like what, 6 hours?
And we talked about it. No, it's a 10-hour drive. And we talked about it a couple days ago. And he was like, yep, no, I am. I'm getting off everything, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, sweet. And so I called him this morning. I hear a background. I was like, oh, I think he's in the car. I call him like at 9:45. And he's like, I just woke up. And I was like, I don't think he's coming. He's like, just kidding. Been on the road for 3 hours. I was like, he's like, yeah, I'll be there in like 7 hours or whatever. And I was like, heck yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
oh, that'll be so much fun.
Oh, and I got a piano yesterday.
You did?
Like a legit piano.
Oh,
the full thing.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Have you already been playing it?
It's a little, there's a couple things. I need to find a tuner to come and like whatever. Because I don't know how to do that.
For a real piano,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited though. So I'm going to get back into playing worship music.
I know. I've been loving, I didn't realize how rusty I was.
Dude, I think I can't play at all really. Like I did a little bit and I was like, this is bad. Yeah.
It's been years.
It's been years
since I've played any, like consistently of any sort.
Yeah. We'll get it back quick though.
Yeah.
And then we'll crush. And then we'll intro like
we'll have a little theme song.
We'll literally intro the guests in.
Yeah.
Just sitting here playing.
I'll sing, you play piano.
Yeah, no problem. It's done. Consider it done.
Yeah, no one wants to hear that.
All right, shall we get into it?
Should we dive in?
Okay. But we haven't chatted. We needed to catch up.
I know. It's been a while. Anyway, we'll chat more after, too.
Of course.
Today, we're talking about cultivating gratitude and faith and what it looks like to find God in nature as well. So kind of
I like that. So what did you just think about that? Like,
honestly, I was having trouble finding a topic that I was like resonating with. And then I started seeing like ChatGPT was giving me ideas and it mentioned nature and I was like, wait, expand on that. Nice. And then it started reminding me of like the times that I have been in nature, how impactful it's been. And I was like, ooh. I
went to nature yesterday to be with God and I was like, look at that.
I also feel like you talk about nature a lot, like probably more than I do, honestly. Yeah. So I'm really excited for you to talk about it too. But
I was hyped when I saw that. I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, let's
dive in. It's going to flow from the heart.
Okay. First question, what memory do you have of the first time you saw or felt God in nature?
I feel like I actually have a lot. For one, I'll say most times I'm on the beach. Like when I'm on the beach, I'm just like, boom, I'm there.
Connected.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel deeply connected. I'm locked in. And so that's not like a super intense or whatever, but I did have a crazy experience one time when I was living in Folsom. And there was that like creek that was behind that one house that I was living in that we'd walk down, like whatever. And one morning I was out there, I was just like meditating, praying. And I was just going through a hard season of life. And I all of a sudden just got this crazy feeling came over me. And I was like, whoa. And I just like froze. And I just kind of saw the hills like right across from the creek that I was on just kind of rippling. I was like, whoa, what's going on? This is like 7 a.m. I'd been out there since like sunrise. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? And at that point, I was like, I felt like I almost wanted to quit with soccer. I was so exhausted. I had injuries. I was just like, how am I supposed to live right now? Like I was really struggling. I don't know if I ever told you this. And all of a sudden I felt this like presence. And it's like the only time I've like seen things ever, like angel and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my grandma. I was like, that's my grandma right there. And she passed like years ago since I was like 4. And it was like her, and she was like, you got this basically. And then I started looking around and I saw like all these other like angels, like people who had been in my life, people that I didn't know, like ancestors, whatever. It was like the craziest thing. And it was like, and as I was walking out of that like ravine or whatever, they were all just like, keep going. And I was like, that was crazy. So that was a crazy experience for me. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. And it allowed me to keep going. So, yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That is so powerful.
Did I tell you that? I think I may have told you that a long time ago. That was like, what, 6 years ago
I
now?
just don't remember you ever saying how you saw like your grandma and other people.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I don't know if I actually told anyone because I felt a little weird about it at the time because I was like, wait, people are going to think I'm crazy. It's okay. I am crazy. It was like so many people.
Wow.
Like it was people I didn't know. It was like, but it was their spirits were there.
My gosh. Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I felt like they were all like cheering me on. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a purpose, a reason. I was in a really dark place. I literally was like, very dark place.
Yeah.
So I really, really needed it.
Needed something that powerful.
Yeah. And it was like every single one of these like everyone here is telling you to keep going because you have people to impact. You have something to do that's going to like be beautiful. So,
but that is such a like intimate experience that's so hard to share with other people.
Yeah, I don't actually really think, maybe I didn't tell anyone, but I literally thought, I looked over the questions and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's the one.
That came to mind for you.
Wow. Yeah.
That's super powerful.
What about you?
I feel like it's really interesting how God speaks to different people. And I feel like for you, which I love and even like envy a little bit, is that he like speaks to you really clearly. I feel like you just get like words and actual phrases and stuff. I don't feel like he has ever spoken to me like that as much, but I know that he's spoken to me. So anyway, all that to say, one time that I like really experienced him in nature that has stood out to me for so long was when I was really young. And that's why I like, that's one of the reasons I know is because I had like such big revelations at really young ages that have impacted me like, for the rest of my life. So I was raised in like orchards. Like we grew up in Chico, like orchards everywhere. We had like 4 acres of walnuts, and I would walk for hours and hours in our orchard, like just like talking to myself, and like that was like super therapeutic. But I remember this one time, I don't remember what happened, but I was like so angry at one of my siblings. And up until that point, like I was the one that would like close my fist and like hold a grudge and be so angry for so long at my siblings or at anyone, like for anything if I felt wrong. I remember going out to my orchard and like crying and just being so upset. And then just stopping and realizing like I cannot live my life holding grudges. Like I don't want to feel like this.
You're like 6.
I was like, well, it was probably, no, it was a little bit older than that. Maybe like 10, 11, but like still really young. Yeah. I just remember so clearly realizing like I cannot live like this. Like I will not be happy holding grudges every time I'm hurt.
I love that story.
And I was like, I will not anymore.
That's so cool.
And I mean, obviously I had to work on that. But since then, I've been so much faster to forgive, to let go, to not linger on things. And there have been moments like that where I'm like, that wasn't my 10-year-old self just being wise. Like that was the Lord
interception
pushing me and going, no, you're not going to live like this. And I'm so grateful for those moments because they were so transformative.
Dude, that is why like I love working with kids, youth, teens, all the age. Like, cause I so clearly remember things like that too. Yeah. Where it'd be like, I feel like I had a life changing decision that I made when I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, like as a kid. And I know that, and it's for me today. And so when my students or kids, when they tell me something, I listen. I'm like, that matters. You need to follow that. Because even like your story, it's like, listen to that, hold on to that, because you don't get that many of those.
Yeah. And it can really shape the entire rest of your life if you do hold on to it and listen to it.
Yeah. I remember one time when I was like, probably like 9 or 10, and it's kind of silly, but I was running through my laundry room and I hit my funny bone so hard. Like so hard. Like it actually like swelled up like on your funny bone. Like it was bad. Really bad. It had like a little purple knot and everything. And I literally was like, and I was like, no, I'm not going to cry. I was like, I will not cry over physical pain anymore moving forward. Now, if I want to, I really, like I can, okay? It's not that serious. But I realized I was so quick to cry when I was in pain at like 10 or 11. And so I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing that. I'm going to be tough. And that like changed me I got so tough after that.
Gangster Izzy entered the scene. Just like,
Literally.
I will not cry.
I will not. Yeah, but then it helped me. It helped me so much in like so many other difficult situations to be like, this is not a time to cry. This sucks. This is not a time to cry. You need to be tough right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that was like very impactful. And so when kids tell me that, I'm like, yes, that's legit. Listen to that.
Right. Yeah. You know to actually listen to them.
Yes. I know.
That's biblical. It's like the Lord is like, let the little ones come to me. Like,
I know. That's why when I talk to certain adults, I'm like, why do you think you know so much more than these young people? Like really young. You don't. Okay. Because I know I don't. Like there's more connected to things than we are. I don't know. I love kids.
Absolutely. Agreed. So good. Okay, let's see. Describe a moment of deep listening in nature or elsewhere when you felt God's voice more clearly than your own thoughts, or just when you felt God's voice in general.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that, like, I'll get those words sometimes. It is really hard for me to silence my mind to any capacity. I am like, go, think, thought all the time.
I was just thinking about that. I was trying to pray last night, and I was like, all of a sudden I realized I was like down a whole other rabbit hole.
All the time.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, don't. That's that. Exactly that. And I went out to nature last week with Mitchell because I was like feeling a lot and I was feeling overwhelmed. And we were just sitting on this bench and he was like trying to just teach me to like chill and just not. He was like, see that tree over there? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I could sit here and just look at that tree and not have a single thought for 2 to 3 hours. And I was like, what? Like how?
Yeah.
How? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to
You're like, but now I'm thinking about not thinking.
No, it's so hard. Yeah, that's why I do like acupuncture. Acupuncture helps me with that because gosh, what was the even question here? Because I just started going, it's a time when I heard, right?
Yeah, when you felt God's voice very
louder.
Clearly. Yeah.
Yeah.
A moment of deep listening. But it is hard to get to that place of deep listening. Is what you were saying.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's funny that you said you're like, oh, sometimes I'm like envious of that. Sometimes I'm envious of like just a constant, because I feel like I won't have any. That's why I went out to nature yesterday and like canceled a bunch of stuff and was like, I just need to try and spend time with God and like listen.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole time I take a 2-mile walk to this place by the creek, sit by the creek, listen to some worship music, try and pray, try and chill. And it's like still like nothing, but I'm like, okay, I'm still going to try.
You're still trying, yeah.
And I was walking back and I still was like, oh my gosh, I just didn't hear anything at all. And I was like, all right, God, I was like, I'm not going to ask you for a sign because I have faith and I don't need a sign from you. And I'm not doing that. And I don't want to do that because I want to have faith. Like I want to have faith. I don't need a sign. And I said, but I would love some encouragement. So I get all the way back. I do the whole thing. I don't hear a single thing. And I open up my Bible. I'm like, all right, I'm going to pray. Read my Bible. I'm in Ephesians. And so the backstory for people listening in, I had called Maggie because I was upset because I was trying to work something out with a family member that I've been trying to for a long time. And it was like trying to follow up and just getting nothing back. And I was like, why am I trying? I want to make peace so bad. I want to try and figure this out, but it's like a two-way street and I couldn't. And it was the last chapter of Ephesians. And it literally, I forget exactly what the verse was, but it was like, try with like all your might, all your soul to be at peace with everyone.
Wow.
And it was like, oh, it was just like, boom, that's what I needed. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. I was like, that's literally all I needed. I said, just give me a little bit. Just give me a little bit of encouragement. And I would say that is something, I'm going on a crazy tangent here, but that's something that I would, I think people should be cautious with is asking for signs and I think when I was younger, I did that a little bit, but
yeah,
someone reminded me like last summer because I was like, man, I felt like I haven't actually had that contact, that feeling in so long and like months and months and months. And they're like, well, if you did all the time, then you wouldn't have faith.
It wouldn't be
faith. You wouldn't have great faith. Yeah. So it's like, I don't want a sign right now. I just need a little encouragement. So that's literally what I said. And then he gave me it and I was like, wow, How awesome is that?
amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because it's like you are showing that faith by saying like, I don't need a sign. Like I will choose to believe regardless.
yes.
And I think that he also like shows favor towards that though.
Yeah. And then last night I struggle with nightmares like pretty constantly. And I was praying about it again. I was like, God, I would love to just dream about Jesus. Wow, I just forgot about this until just now. I was like, I would love to dream about Jesus and just like have some good dreams. And last night I had the greatest dreams of my life. And it's so funny because in my dream, I felt, because my whole walk yesterday was also just like, why do I feel like I have to do everything and achieve and push? And I was like, God, I don't want to do that. I just want to be fulfilled in a relationship with you, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I have so much drive and I want to do all these things. I'm constantly in a fight with that. And in my dream, I was one of his disciples, like literally, and I was able to be Matthew for whatever reason. I have no idea like why in my brain that happened. And I felt so fulfilled.
Wow.
It was so cool. It was so cool.
So
and then I woke up and I
cool.
was so sad the dream was over.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
So yeah, that just happened. And I've been struggling. So
yeah, no, I know. That's huge.
Yeah.
To have like all good dreams about Jesus.
It
Like,
was so cool. I was like, no.
it doesn't get better than that. That's awesome.
It was cool.
Were you wearing like a full robe?
It was super weird because that part of it, I was like a cat. So I don't even know. It was just one of those super weird things. But like the feeling it was one of those ones, but it was so awesome too. Mm-hmm. I was just like, yeah, I basically traded places with Matthew and I was like, I got you. I'll be you. Like,
nice. And then Matthew's cat.
Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. Literally that. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
So that was my story. What about you?
I love that. A deep moment of listening. I feel like a moment of listening happened with Matthew and I. It was not in nature. It was just in our house before we were married, before we even engaged. When we had like really been trying to figure out like our religion situation. Like he was raised Lutheran. I've always been raised Catholic, and that was like a huge thing for us as we were leading up to like knowing we were getting engaged, is like figuring out like what is our path, like how are we raising our kids. And we were both like very staunch in our like individual faiths, and so we were like, how do we come together in this? And so we've been praying about it for a while. Like it had felt like a long time of just not having an answer and just feeling like we're praying, like we're trying to have open hearts, nothing's happening, like the Lord isn't speaking to us, like we don't know where to go, and just like feeling frustrated, like we need to like pick a path kind of. And so anyway, all of that had been happening, and then Matthew had started, he met some really great men, and like he started just having really good conversations. And so one day he came to me and he was like, hey, like I know this is really big, but I think we should wait to have sex till marriage now. And like we had not up until then, and I was like, yes, like I absolutely agree, we should. That's so cool. And like it had like been on our hearts, but it's something we like had pushed back in our minds, like didn't want to think about, like knew that we shouldn't be. And so then he came to me and he said that, and I was like, yes, absolutely. And so it was just such a powerful moment. And then in that moment, like after that followed a conversation about faith. And that's when we decided to take the next step forward of like committing to searching out Lutheranism for both of us and for our family. And that was like so pivotal. Wow. But it was after that act of faith of going, all right, we know that we are not acting in accordance with our faith right now by having sex before marriage, so we are committing to this. And then I really feel like the Lord was like, yes, you're on the right path right now, and I'm going to show you. He
gave you peace.
Yeah, give you peace, and I'm going to show you where to go with your faith now. And like we just had this door open up, and it was so powerful. But it was like that faith you're saying, that, and then the peace followed.
That's so cool.
And it was really, both of us were just like, whoa.
Wow.
Like we both felt it so strong. We were like, this like is for real. Aww. It was really cool. So
I'm proud of you for sharing that too.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. No, it was really powerful, and we're like so grateful that we committed to that.
Yeah.
Like, it was a legitimate game changer.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so good. And it was hard, but it was like the best thing we could have done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Because everything he tells us to do is for our benefit.
It's for a reason. It brought us so much closer.
Yeah, your
too.
relationship is so much. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, it was amazing. So
that's awesome.
That's definitely.
Like, should you pull your mic closer? I don't know. I was like, is mine just super close?
I should probably, because I also feel like I talk more quietly.
That's what I was thinking.
So
I scream at you while you're like,
please.
I'm like,
no, that's probably a good call. Now it feels really close though.
I have it so close. Yeah, but I always test no.
No. Okay. All right. Next question. What barriers keep you from creating sacred space, like time for listening?
Phones. 100%.
Yeah.
Phones. Getting pulled out of the moment.
Yep.
That's what the phone does.
Yeah.
It takes me out of the present moment constantly.
Yeah.
Unless I'm talking to someone.
So we've been reading Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, and I know I've talked to you about it before, but we read one last night, and it literally talked about this. So it's like, it's these two devils, basically, like a dialogue between them. And they were talking about how it's like, it's dangerous for our patient, like the person that they're assigned to like lead astray. It's like, we don't want them to go out in nature, go for a walk, read a book that they enjoy just for the like fact of enjoying it, have a conversation. Like, we don't want any of those things. It's like inherently they're not moral or immoral, but anything that like grounds the person, like we don't want that. Dude. And I was telling Matthew, I was like, that's why the devil loves phones so much. It's because it doesn't ground us at all. Like, we're not in reality. Mm-hmm. We're not thinking about anything. And I was just so convicted.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
That's how I feel about it. Like, that's why it is. I know sometimes I'm so serious about it. Yeah. Because I feel that I see it that way. And like, I'm like, ugh, why am I doing this? Like, yeah.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Anyway, all of that to say, like, I feel like as far as barriers, it is just like the mind wandering for me. It's like, even when I sit down and try to make time to pray or to journal, my thoughts just go like, dude, so many other places.
Why is it? Okay, so is this more of a woman thing? Because I feel like it is.
I think it is more of a female thing because, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I do think we
kind of remember where we hid the berries.
We have more. We're the gatherers. Gosh dang it. No, but I do feel like we just have like a constant stream of
constantly,
thoughts.
Dude. Yeah. I'm like sitting there and then I'm like, oh, and I got to do that. And that's why lists are everything for me. But I hate not feeling on top of it. And so then I'm like, this has got to be done. And
yeah, I'm really trying to work on that.
I also do love working. Like, I do love to have things accomplished and get them done.
Right. But there's like time and place. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like what you said about it's not good for them to like just do something that they really enjoy. Yeah. Because I feel like that's something that God has kind of been teaching me recently too, because sometimes I'm like, I almost feel guilty if it's like I'm having too much fun, just hanging out with Mitchell or chilling. I'm like, why? That's so messed up. Why do I feel?
Yeah, if you're having fun, experiencing joy.
Yeah. What's the problem? Yeah, but I literally will. It's like so annoying.
You feel guilty. Do you think because you shouldn't be, because God is looking at that and thinking you should be doing something different? Like,
no, I don't think. I'm just like, I should be. I don't know. I should be like working harder.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. But that's just your drive.
That's also, you see, it also is what pushes me. And, there's a whole.
I'm sure it's hard to find a balance.
I'm sure a lot of people deal with it too.
No, it's probably just you. I think.
It's actually, you're all alone. I've never heard of that.
No one has ever had as much drive.
Start saying that when anyone tells me something. Wow, that's, no one's ever. That's all you.
Just you. I have never heard that ever. That's insane.
That's nuts. She gets checked out.
You should see someone about that.
Mayday. Okay. All right.
Gosh. Okay. Yeah. Barriers. Yeah. Time. Definitely. Social media. All the things, like just the typical things for sure.
Yep.
Which everyday blessings? So this is getting into gratitude a little bit.
Okay.
Everyday blessings do you want to be more aware of? So Matthew and I were just talking about this, and we were talking about like just the day and age we live in. Like, we're talking about electricity. And then we Googled, like, when did that get invented?
Not that long ago?
Not that long ago. It was, I think, really late 1800s.
I was going to say either early 19 or,
actually start being used.
Like people really get it. Yeah.
And even then, I'm sure it was like super limited. Anyway, it was not that long ago.
I know.
And now I just take it for granted. I'm like super mad when my AC breaks, and I'm like, how dare we not have cold air?
Yeah.
But then I have like running water
blowing on my face.
Exactly.
When it's hot outside. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes me think about also, it's, and this is why I'm not a big news person. I don't like following the news or getting locked in. And people, I think there's a stigma around that. Means like, well, you're uneducated, you're out of the loop, whatever. I'm like, no. Humans were not designed to know the tragedies across the world and all over the place. Like, we were not set, like, that's, our brain can't handle that.
No.
But if we look at it statistically, the world and our history, we are actually doing better than we ever have been doing as far as like disease, life expect, like slavery. Like, there are so many things that are so much better than they ever were in any other. But it doesn't feel that way because we know about everything that's going on.
It's true.
Which totally sucks, but it also helps me be grateful. Like, no, I am really grateful that I, not even like 100 years ago, for like women's rights and like being able to open a bank account and have a house and like, you know, like sports. Like, there's so many crazy things that I'm like, no, I'm very grateful for that. That's a good point. I'm very grateful. Conveniences.
Yeah. I even like when I go to sleep at night, I'm like, wow, I love my bed. So
dude, I think that almost every time. Every time I lay down.
That's definitely one. I know we're talking about less things that we are very aware of. We'll get to the ones we're not aware of. But yeah, my bed, I'm like super grateful for that. One time someone told me something about like being grateful for their toothbrush. And I was like, oh, that's a really good one. I'm super.
Yeah. Oh,
it would be disgusting
imagine if
without
I
it.
didn't. I think about those things.
Yeah.
I think about people a long time ago. But I was like, everyone smelled then. So
yeah, that's just
I can go on. See, this is where the mind can go. I could be thinking, oh, I'm grateful for my toothbrush, and be like, man, what did people used to do? What about people in different countries? Like, you know,
goes on and on.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay.
As far as things I want to be more grateful for, like the everyday blessings, I feel sometimes I need to focus more on just the little things, like my car. I have a car that I can drive in, especially when I'm feeling busy or like I have to be a million places. It's like, thank goodness I have a car to drive in. Like, I just need to reframe a little bit more. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have specific ones?
I was thinking, because I am a pretty sensitive person, so relationships really matter to me. And obviously, yesterday I was going through it, so I was really upset about certain relationships in my personal life that I don't have or trying to work on. And I was like, but I have like 30 times more good than bad.
Absolutely.
You know, so I was like, I just want to be super grateful for all the relationships that I have. And I literally then I just started thinking about that. Started thinking about you, started thinking about Maddie, started thinking about, you know, Cindy, like everyone. I was like, wow. So I think just being more grateful for the relationships that I do have that are great and that I've had for a really long time too. Yeah. So that was kind of the one I was thinking about.
Awesome.
Because it was all very relevant.
It's very relevant.
Yeah, all of it.
For sure. It also, like, you talking about how we're not meant to know everything that's going on in the world, but it makes sense that, you know, like, we live in a time where, we have so advanced healthcare and like we have cars and we have phones and everything. Like, you would think that we would be doing super well, and yet like we have such high depression and anxiety and like
we know too much.
We know too much.
And that's what I also don't like about it too, is that people are like, oh, well, you got to be educated, you got to be in the know. And I'm like, I've really just stepped away from all that and be like, no, I don't.
We're not meant to.
I'm not. And because in my circle, when there are people that I do need to help and that it's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. I'm going to know the people that I'm supposed to help and the whatever. I don't need to fixate on all the tragedies of the world to feel better about myself, about the life that I'm living. No, I don't need to do that. I think there's a lot of stigma around that. 'Cause I hear that a lot, you know, like.
I feel like I always try to put out there, or not always, but I think more recently, like, I am not in the loop with this. Like, I can't speak on this. Like, I don't know everything that's going on. Because I don't listen to the news. Like, and if I see something, it's like from social media, and I'm like, I'm not.
It's a clip.
Basing my opinions off of this. I have no idea. Even news outlets too. Everything's like, a lot of it is really biased. So it's just, I prefer to stay out of it too.
Yeah, no. And people totally
judge
that and are like, you're uneducated, you're whatever, you got to be educated. It's like, no.
Yeah. It's like, no.
What I need to do is get more involved in my community and care more about those things. Yeah. And that's what, honestly, everyone should be doing.
Yeah.
Focus more on your community.
Impact in your
and that's my focus. I'm like, that's what I'm going to focus on. Not all of that. I'll get way too depressed thinking about all
and then if everyone did that, like,
we'd all be doing better anyways. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. When do you find it hardest to connect spiritually? Is it like a certain season of life? I think honestly, the more content I am, the more I forget sometimes to connect spiritually, to like speak to God, because everything is going fine. You know, I think that I turn to him when I need something, and I don't want to be like that, but my inclination is to like go to him and be like, hey Lord, I really need this right now, like please clear up the weather tomorrow, or please do this or whatever. But you know, when everything is going fine, it's like, oh, I don't need him. And I don't want to be like that, but I feel like that is sometimes my inclination, and so I really have to remember to still prioritize my relationship with him. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the reverse of what I thought it would be when I was thinking about this question, but I was like,
I think that it's actually kind of opposite for me. Yeah. Actually, I think maybe I was that way. No, I actually don't think I've been that way that much, because I will more self like deprecate almost, like if I'm already not doing well, then I'm like, I don't deserve any. You know, and I gotta suffer here alone for whatever reason.
No, that makes sense.
I kind of go that way.
Interesting.
And then, but when I have time and I have more peace, I'm like, and my life's going really good. I spend a lot more time reading the Bible. I'm vibing. I'm connecting. I'm like, wow. Yeah. It's more when I'm going through something hard. I feel it's like a punishment complex that I still have to undo, basically, where I feel I deserve that. And so I'm like, well, while I'm already suffering, let's just suffer a little bit more and like put myself away from that, which is something that I've definitely had to work on.
Interesting.
And just need God to like come in and be like, no, I want your peace in this. I don't need to suffer more. I don't need to contribute to my own, like,
punish yourself. Yeah. Interesting. No, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, I do that. It's so I'm like, why?
I think it's super fun.
I love it. No.
Yeah, I definitely turn to him more when I'm like in a hard season. I'm like, no, I really need a journal right now. I really need to talk to God. Like, I cannot.
We are so opposite, actually. It's awesome.
It's really funny. Yeah. And then I think the other time that I don't connect spiritually is if I don't think about it enough. Sometimes I just don't think about it enough. Like, I always have thoughts. Like, that's still true. But sometimes I don't think about certain things that I need to pray on, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is
it's
kind
Mitchell
of a big
you were
thing.
A little similar that way.
Yeah, that I should be praying on, but sometimes it's just in the back of my head.
I think it's almost like an avoidance, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not.
It could be. I'm like, it's...
I think so much.
Yeah. It would be like super subconscious if I was like avoiding it, because I don't mind talking to God about pretty much anything. I'm like, we do need to figure this out or find an answer to this. But I'm like, I need to think about it a little bit more. Like, oh my gosh.
Thinking is hard though. I think we talked about that though, right? Did I talk to you about that? Like, thinking is so hard. Thinking is so rare to like actually think.
Yeah, to have thoughts is one thing, but to actually
think things through versus ruminate and just go in the circle on the same thing versus to counter yourself and actually think. And like, I think that's very hard. I think it's very rare. I think much better with someone versus solo thinking.
I do love to talk it out.
Yeah.
But that's also why...
Hug it out.
Let's hug it out. I think that's also why I like to talk to myself, because it does feel like I'm talking it out.
Yes.
But I need to do it out loud. Like, it can't be like circular thoughts in my head, like you said, like ruminating. I need to like talk it out loud.
That's literally what I do when I like walk, when I went on my, like, it's like a prayer walk, but I'm like, half the time it's not even a prayer walk. It's me just like saying something and being like, is this truth or is this just a random thing that I said? God, what do you think? And then it's like, usually I get to the bottom. I'm like, I don't know what all that is.
Nice.
That was a lot.
I was just saying. This is so good. Oh my gosh. I feel like
yeah. How many
I
more
have
questions
a
do we
few
have?
more questions.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you can. Got about another 5 to 10.
Okay. Okay. How has community or shared habits deepened your faith over time?
I was actually thinking about this this morning because I've really started to lean into just like biblically like what a marriage is and realizing that that's a way that Jesus is loving me through my husband.
Oh.
And that is a sense of community.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like that's like my other, like it's to become one. Like that really is that. So that to me has like actually changed a lot
Wow.
of just like my perspective on everything. Cause I've been like, oh wait, this is like,
Your perspective on marriage?
yeah. And just connection and like community. Cause I thought I was going to be so solo for so much longer than I was.
It's true.
I really
Yeah.
expected myself to not even find a husband until like a year from like now. I thought I was going to be like 27.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. But I was just like, that's what it's going to be.
You fully believed it.
Yeah, I was like, it's going to be a long time for me. It's probably going to happen sooner for you, Maggie, but it's all good.
Yeah. And then Mitchell came along.
And then I literally met 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago I met him. Yeah. And then we were just immediately locked in. But that's just been that's been a big thing for me. Just like realizing how much I needed that and how much God was like, you really need this. Like, I'm going to give you this. You know? So that community, that sense, that partnership is like everything has been incredible to me. Huge. And it's also a way for me to see Jesus loving me.
Yeah.
Through.
Yeah. How Mitchell loves you. Which is
I'm like, wow, Jesus really loves me because you gave me him.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, you love me a lot. I know it.
Yeah. And I think like from the outside looking in, it's very clear to a lot of people how much, like, obviously you love each other, but like how much he loves you. I think that people really see that. And it's a great like witness too to like what a relationship should look like what it looks like to have a husband love you. Wow.
Yeah. I feel like it's so special. And I really do feel like God gave him that love for me. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah. So for me, it's huge. Then obviously you know.
Yeah, like probably like maybe above Mitchell or something.
You're like, I'm probably level 1. Mitchell's level 2.
Like I've known you for longer. I don't want to,
But just having that's your baseline too. Yeah. And just knowing that I can have any kind of conversation with you about any of that. That's like the compass. Yeah. And that's what we're both trying to go use as our navigation is God, is the word. So it's like, I mean, just even you bringing Matthew in has been amazing. You know, his parents, I hope they move here, honestly.
Please.
Matthew's parents are pastors and they're super cool. So yeah. Or he's a pastor.
He's a pastor. Yeah. They're the best. We do want them in Tennessee. So
yeah.
It's a subtle.
We're calling them. Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out. Come on.
I agree though. Yeah. I think as far as community, moving here like to Tennessee and not having community definitely made me realize how important it is. Yeah. And how much I value it, especially because we've cultivated our own since being here. It wasn't like, no, this is our parents' community and now we came into it. Yeah. It's like we made our own here. I think when I was a missionary, having that company like was super formative too, because, and it wasn't, I mean, a lot of the people that I was with during those 9 months were not even people that I would have chosen to be with, but it was like the Lord working and going like, no, you're going to love every single one of these people on your team, all 11 of them, and you're going to be with them for 9 months. And that was super formative. And now I'm really grateful for the community we have at our church too, like the people that we've met. And just like the kindness and the welcoming that we felt there is like amazing.
Tennessee, baby.
yeah. It's seriously been so warm. So
that's awesome.
I'm really grateful for that. And I do feel like it deepens my spirituality because I don't ever feel alone in my faith. And especially with you as my best friend, it's like you said, this is something we can always talk about. Yeah. Like it's the biggest thing that grounds us and connects us to each other. Yeah. I think as Christians, like across the board, like that is our biggest commonality.
Yeah.
Is our faith.
Yeah.
And that's why it's beautiful to have that community where you can talk about it. It's just, and even in like my workspace too, like it's very Christian based. And so we talk about the Lord like very openly, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I love that. I actually was thinking about pushing that a little bit more with Push the Goal too.
Yeah.
And just letting that, just because it's a good, I would love to. Yeah.
I love that.
And already all the people that work for me are believers. So I'm like, cool.
Let's make this like part of the criteria.
Yeah, like literally this is a thing. Like just even like praying before working with students, praying about students. Sometimes I'll just sit there at night and I just like pray for all my students.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's sick.
I love it.
Should we do one more? Uno mas.
Okay.
Uno mas. You choose whatever one you think is.
Is there a practical change? This is a good one to end on. You want to make to improve your spiritual life?
A practical change.
Something I've been working on recently. So this is something that it is in the works that I am currently making, is having like set aside time to pray every day. Because I haven't had that for a while. Like I've had time in the morning to journal and read my Bible occasionally, but like just to sit and pray. And I really wanted to do it with Matthew. I was like, we need to have our time to pray. So
you just pray at night?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we started now.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Because we hadn't done it consistently. So I was like, we need to have our time. So now, like, before we go to bed, like, we pray together, and I pray, then he prays. And sometimes we'll like read our Screw Tape or C.S. Lewis, whatever, beforehand. And so like it just, we're in the mindset together, and I've loved that. But just making sure we have time together to pray has been a change that we made recently. And we're still getting in the habit, like to make it, a daily thing. But I've been loving that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think probably I'm just more prayer, more reading the Bible, more all the things just help. I think I do want to get involved in some like Bible studies more, at least. Honestly, I should just reach out to Liz. I would. Yeah. Her and I have always Bible studied so hard. She's one of my mentors back in California.
Bible studied horde.
We went horde. And I used to live with her for a while. It was so cool how I met her. I literally was walking on campus and I saw her and they had like a Bible stand. I was like, hi. I just like went up to her and she's like, I was like, should we pray together? And she's like, yeah. And then we just went and like prayed. And then we became really good friends after that.
That's
and, like,
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I haven't seen her in years, but we'll go through seasons of still Bible studying on the phone. And we just like call and read the Bible and FaceTime, and it goes hard.
Yeah. Again, it's like that commonality. It's like even if you haven't like seen them in years, it's like that still brings you together no matter what. I do miss Bible studies. We grew up doing some Bible studies together.
Yeah.
With Sue, and that was amazing.
Dude, that was awesome. I love that.
I love that.
I would, that would be really good. I think it's so good. Mm-hmm. And I think just being able to pray about things, that's something that I would say too. Cause like I've tried to lean more into like mentors recently and
like finding mentors.
Yeah. And just like ones that I already, cause a lot of time I feel like you already know who that person is that you just got to pursue it more.
Yeah.
And like for me, I was like, and it's even if they're not close, it's like even just like Tia Annie, like I called her before I went back to Chico even. It was like, called her, can you pray with me? Just pray with me, pray over me, and like kind of seeking like elders in that sense. Yeah. Like they're like they have a space, they have a reason they've been praying for so much longer. They've had, and like leaning into that. Same thing with like Mike Daly and Crit, like those are, same thing with Liz. So I think that's a really practical thing to do. Just go find like people who have been in their faith for a long time.
I love that.
And then go reach out to them. And I'll just be like, hey, can you just call me? You pray with me and pray over me right now?
And that goes back to that community too.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah. It's like, don't seclude, don't isolate, reach out, pray with people, pray about it. It's also bringing, and I literally read this too, is also bring what is in the darkness to light. Bring it to the light. Just bring it, whatever it is. And that's why I did that with Annie too. I literally was like, I'm having anxiety about A, B, and C. I tell her, she's like, I'm going to pray over it. Boom, it's gone. Bring it to light.
Amazing.
So
it has no power when it's in the light.
No power, baby.
That's amazing. Sick. Well, that's a great.
So, that was a wrap. That was awesome.
To end on.
Yeah. Wait, did you have any practical tip was it for a tip for someone or just that we want to do?
Practical change that we want to make. It was just
more
praying consistently. Yeah.
Okay.
With Matthew. Yeah.
Get out there and pray. Thank you, Jesus. We love you. Cheers. Wait, are we going to? Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you could share this episode with 5 people you think could benefit from the show. Also, please feel free to connect with me on Instagram at Izzy Chinche or my website at izzychinche.com. Thank you so much for being you. Keep being a leader and making this world a better place.